Have you ever stopped to think that something as ordinary and trusted as an apple, a fruit you've eaten since childhood, might not be working the way you think anymore? For most of us, apples have always symbolized good health, purity, and vitality. We grew up believing that eating an apple every day would keep the doctor away, that it would cleanse our system, boost our energy, and protect our heart. And for many years, that belief held true. Apples are indeed one of nature's finest gifts, rich in fiber, loaded with antioxidants, and full of nutrients that support circulation, digestion, and brain function. But here's the unsettling truth few people realize. The same apple that once helped you stay healthy can quietly turn against you if it's handled the wrong way. Small, everyday habits, like when you eat it, how you store it, or what you combine it with, can completely flip its effects inside your body. What was once cleansing your arteries can begin to inflame them. What was meant to sharpen your mind can start clouding it. And what you believed was strengthening your heart could, over time, increase your risk of the very conditions you were trying to avoid: heart attack and brain stroke. You see, the body after 60 doesn't process food the same way it used to. Digestion slows down, the stomach produces less acid, the intestinal walls become more sensitive, and blood circulation isn't as quick to respond. That means every nutrient, even from something as healthy as an apple, behaves differently. A young digestive system can tolerate the acids, sugars, and fibers in apples without issue, but in an older body, those same compounds can cause subtle imbalances if used carelessly. They can irritate the stomach lining, disrupt blood sugar levels, or interfere with how your body absorbs medicines. At first, the signs are small: a little bloating after eating, a feeling of heaviness in the chest, or sudden tiredness that comes out of nowhere. You might brush it off as just another part of aging. But beneath the surface, something more serious could be unfolding. Improper apple habits, like eating them on an empty stomach, pairing them with dairy, or consuming them late at night, can cause slow, silent inflammation in your digestive and circulatory systems. And inflammation is the hidden doorway to heart trouble and brain decline. It stiffens your arteries, thickens your blood, and disturbs the balance your heart depends on to keep pumping smoothly. Think of your arteries like soft, flexible pipes carrying energy to your heart and brain. When you eat apples incorrectly, those pipes can slowly lose their flexibility. Acidic reactions, sugar spikes, and chemical residues begin to irritate the lining. Over time, the inner walls can become narrow, the blood flow less smooth, and the oxygen reaching your brain a little lower. You don't notice it right away, but months later, it starts showing up: slower memory, fatigue, dizziness, irregular blood pressure. For many seniors, it builds quietly for years until one day, it results in something sudden and devastating, a heart or brain event that seems to have come out of nowhere. But it never really comes out of nowhere. It begins with everyday choices no one warns you about. That's the frightening part. Apples aren't the problem. The misunderstanding of how to use them is. The truth is, after 60, even natural foods demand precision. The wrong timing or pairing can change how nutrients interact in your body. When eaten properly, apples are one of the most powerful allies you have against aging. They stabilize cholesterol, improve memory, support gut balance, and clear the blood vessels that feed your heart. But when eaten carelessly, they can block absorption, strain your digestion, and contribute to the very issues you thought you were preventing. The tricky part is that the harm doesn't feel like harm. You don't feel inflammation in your arteries. You don't sense the toxins that stay in your blood when apples are eaten the wrong way. You just feel a little off, a little more tired after meals, or notice that your energy isn't what it used to be. Maybe you wake up feeling foggy, or your pulse feels heavier after eating. It's easy to ignore, to assume it's just normal aging. But those are quiet warnings from your body. Gentle reminders that something as small as how and when you eat your apple could be shifting the delicate balance inside you. And here's the hopeful part: these problems can be fixed easily. You don't need to stop eating apples. You just need to understand their rhythm, how they behave in your body, what they react with, and what timing allows them to do their best work. Once you know that, apples can once again become your heart's friend and your brain's guardian. They can cleanse your blood, ease digestion, calm inflammation, and even help your circulation feel younger again. It's all about awareness, turning a routine into a healing habit instead of a harmful one. What you'll learn today could change the way you look at this simple fruit forever. Because we're not just talking about digestion, we're talking about protecting the two organs that keep you alive and alert every single day: your heart and your brain. In this video, We'll uncover the 10 most dangerous apple mistakes seniors make. Mistakes that quietly raise the risk of heart attack and brain stroke without showing clear signs until it's too late. But we'll also show you how to correct each one easily, naturally, and safely. By the end, you'll know exactly how to turn the apple back into the powerful ally it was meant to be. And I'll tell you right now, one of these mistakes is something even doctors warn about, because it can completely block how your medication works and silently push your heart toward danger. So don't skip ahead, and don't miss a single detail. Understanding how apples behave inside your body after 60 could literally change how you feel, think, and age from this day forward. If you care about keeping your circulation strong, your heart calm, and your mind sharp, hit that like button and type "yes" in the comments below. Because what you're about to learn could protect you from the very risks most people never see coming. Now, let's begin with mistake number 1. Number 1. Eating apples on an empty stomach. Eating an apple on an empty stomach is not energizing your system, it's silently straining it. When you wake up, your stomach is in its most delicate state. It's been resting, digesting slowly through the night, and the acid levels are naturally high in preparation for your first meal. The lining of your stomach is thinner and more sensitive during this time, especially after 60, when digestive strength declines and the protective mucus barrier becomes weaker. Now imagine dropping something acidic and fibrous, like an apple, directly into that empty environment. The natural malic acid and pectin in the apple start reacting instantly with the stomach acids, creating irritation that might feel like slight bloating, uneasiness, or even mild heartburn. But even if you don't feel it, the internal reaction begins. Over time, this morning habit can slowly erode your digestive stability. The body starts producing more acid than needed, leading to a cycle of hyperacidity that weakens digestion for the rest of the day. When your stomach struggles in the morning, your intestines don't receive food in the right form, and your liver has to work harder to neutralize excess acid. This digestive imbalance doesn't stay local, it spreads through your circulation. The stress signals from your gut reach your cardiovascular system, affecting blood vessel tone and causing subtle fluctuations in blood pressure. Over months and years, this kind of repeated strain contributes to inflammation in the vascular lining, the silent process that eventually stiffens arteries and increases the risk of heart attack and brain stroke. And there's another layer to it. Apples, while nutritious, are rich in natural sugars, fructose and glucose. On an empty stomach, these sugars are absorbed rapidly into the bloodstream. For younger people with fast metabolism, this isn't a big issue. But after 60, when insulin sensitivity drops, that sugar spike becomes a sudden shock to your system. It causes your pancreas to release more insulin than necessary, leading to sharp ups and downs in blood sugar. These fluctuations don't just leave you feeling tired or dizzy, they also thicken the blood slightly and disturb the delicate rhythm of your heart and brain circulation. Over time, these repeated sugar shocks can lead to chronic inflammation in your arteries, one of the hidden roots of strokes and cardiac events. Most people never make this connection because they assume apples are harmless. But the combination of empty stomach acidity and sugar overload is a dangerous duo for seniors. It's like pouring fuel on a smoldering flame, small at first, but over time, it burns through your body's balance. You may feel fine in the morning, but the real cost shows up quietly, in your digestion, in your blood flow, and in how your heart and brain cope with stress. Number 2. Eating apples right after taking medicines. It's a habit so ordinary that most people never think twice about it. You take your morning medicines, drink a little water, and then, feeling responsible, reach for something healthy. An apple, maybe, to cleanse the taste and do your body some good. After all, what could be more harmless than eating fruit after taking your pills? But here's the shocking truth. This innocent-looking routine could be quietly blocking your medicine from working, and in the long run, could raise your risk of heart attack or brain stroke. Apples, as natural as they are, contain complex compounds that don't always play nicely with modern medication. The same pectin fiber that helps cleanse your digestive tract can also bind to the very drugs meant to protect your heart, control your blood pressure, or stabilize your cholesterol. Think of pectin like a sponge. Once it enters your stomach, it begins absorbing and trapping substances around it. When you eat an apple too soon after taking your medication, that fiber can literally latch onto your pills before they have a chance to dissolve fully or pass into your bloodstream. The result? Your medicine becomes less effective, your body absorbs less of it, and the condition it's meant to manage, whether it's hypertension, cholesterol imbalance, or circulation issues, starts slipping out of control again. This problem becomes even more serious as you age. After 60, the digestive system slows, meaning medications already take longer to break down and absorb. If an apple's fiber interferes at that delicate stage, the dosage that reaches your blood might be just a fraction of what you actually need. You may not notice it right away. You'll take your medicine, feel fine for a while, and assume everything's normal. But inside, your blood pressure may stay unstable, your cholesterol may creep upward, and your blood flow to the brain might not stay as smooth as it should. Over time, this silent disruption builds into the very conditions you've been trying to prevent: thickened blood, weak circulation, and the growing risk of a heart or brain event. And it's not just the fiber. Apples also contain natural acids and polyphenol that can alter the stomach's pH level, changing how certain drugs dissolve or are metabolized. For example, if you're taking blood pressure medicines or anticoagulants, the acids in apples can interfere with how your body processes them, reducing their potency. Imagine taking your pills faithfully every day, trusting that they're doing their job, while a simple fruit you thought was helping is quietly making them less effective. It's a slow sabotage that no one warns you about. Over time, this creates a dangerous loop. You take your medicine, eat your apple, and think you're living healthily, but the medicine doesn't work as intended. Your blood pressure remains slightly unstable, your arteries stay inflamed, and your brain gets less oxygen than it should. You might feel more tired, forgetful, or dizzy without realizing why. Then, one day, your doctor increases your dosage, thinking your body is resistant. But it's not resistance, it's interference. The apple has been quietly blocking the help your medicine was supposed to deliver. Number 3. Eating apples late at night. For many seniors, an apple before sleep seems like the perfect alternative to heavy snacks or sugary desserts. But this innocent nighttime habit hides a serious secret. Eating apples late at night doesn't soothe your body, it silently stirs it up. And over time, that small disturbance can ripple through your system, affecting your heart, your brain, and the very rhythm of your rest. You see, an apple's sweetness may feel gentle, but it's still a form of natural sugar. When eaten late at night, especially on a slowing metabolism, that sugar spikes your blood glucose just when your body is trying to power down. Instead of resting, your digestive system kicks back into motion. Your stomach starts churning, your pancreas releases insulin, and your liver begins processing that sudden wave of sugar. This hidden activity interferes with the deep rest your body needs after 60, the kind of rest that repairs tissues, calms blood vessels, and stabilizes circulation. Without it, your heart works harder through the night, blood pressure fluctuates, and the fine balance of blood flow to the brain becomes uneven. What feels like a light snack might actually be forcing your most vital organs to work overtime while you sleep. And that's not all. Apples are rich in fiber, a good thing, usually, but only when timed right. Fiber slows digestion, meaning the fruit sits longer in your stomach. Late at night, when your digestive muscles are naturally less active, that fiber can linger, causing fermentation and gas. This leads to mild acid reflux, the silent kind you may not even feel fully, just a sense of heaviness or a restless sleep. That acid, creeping upward, irritates the esophagus and triggers micro-stress responses in your body. The vagus nerve, which connects your digestive system directly to your heart, becomes overstimulated. And when that nerve is disturbed repeatedly, it can cause sudden changes in heart rhythm, making your circulation unstable. Over months and years, this pattern raises the strain on both the heart and brain, the two organs most vulnerable after 60. Think of your body at night as a city that needs its power grid to rest. Every organ slows down to conserve energy and heal. But when you eat an apple just before bed, you're turning all the lights back on, forcing the engines to run again. The heart pumps harder to handle digestion, blood sugar rises when it should stay calm, and your nervous system slips out of its healing mode. The result is not just poor sleep, it's physiological unrest. And the cruel part? You may never connect the dots. You'll just wake up tired, foggy, with a faster heartbeat or mild dizziness, never realizing that a healthy apple might be what disturbed your body's natural balance. Sleep is not just rest for the mind, it's therapy for the heart and brain. During deep sleep, your blood pressure naturally dips, giving arteries a break from daily pressure. But when digestion is active, that dip never fully happens. The heart stays tense. The arteries stay slightly constricted. The blood becomes thicker with sugar. And those nights, repeated again and again, quietly accumulate, until one day, the strain shows up in the form of elevated morning pressure, irregular heartbeat, or worse, a stroke that no one saw coming. Number 4. Combining apples with milk or yogurt. It's a mistake born from good intentions. You might think mixing apples with milk or yogurt makes the perfect wholesome meal, a creamy fruit bowl, a smoothie, or a quick breakfast that feels light yet filling. After all, both apples and dairy have long been considered health symbols. Milk for bones, apples for the heart. What could go wrong when you bring them together? But here's the hidden truth few people understand. This classic, healthy combo can quietly turn into a metabolic trap, especially after 60. What looks like nourishment on the plate can actually trigger internal fermentation, slow down circulation, and over time, burden the very organs you're trying to protect, your heart and your brain. When you mix apples with dairy, you're combining two foods that digest at completely different speeds and in different environments. Apples are acidic and rich in natural fruit enzymes, while milk and yogurt are alkaline and protein-heavy. The stomach struggles to process both at once. The acid from the apple causes the milk to curdle too early, before it's properly broken down. That curdling leads to fermentation and gas, producing mucus and heaviness in the digestive tract. This isn't just about bloating or mild discomfort. This slow fermentation process actually releases toxins that can enter the bloodstream. Once there, these toxins irritate blood vessel linings, making arteries less flexible. And when arteries lose flexibility, circulation becomes sluggish, the perfect setup for long-term heart strain and reduced blood flow to the brain. You might not feel the damage immediately. It doesn't hit like an allergy or a stomach upset. Instead, it creeps up quietly, a bit of sluggishness after meals, mild congestion in the mornings, thicker saliva, heavier breathing after climbing stairs. These are signs that the body is accumulating internal waste that the liver and kidneys now have to work harder to clear. As the digestive system becomes more burdened, inflammation spreads through the bloodstream. That inflammation is the same silent spark behind heart disease, artery hardening, and even microstrokes, the tiny, unseen disruptions in brain circulation that steal clarity over time. This combination becomes even riskier for seniors because the digestive fire, the body's ability to break down complex foods, naturally weakens with age. What a younger person might handle without visible symptoms can become a serious metabolic challenge after 60. The body can no longer efficiently neutralize the clash between fruit acids and milk proteins. Instead of nourishing you, the mixture stagnates. And that stagnation shows up as more than indigestion. It turns into thicker blood, slower oxygen delivery, and pressure on the heart to keep things moving. Imagine your circulation system like a clean river. Apples alone keep it flowing. Milk alone can fortify it. But when mixed together, they turn that river cloudy, heavy, and slow. Number 5. Eating unripe or sour apples. There's something refreshing about a crisp, tangy apple, that sharp bite, that sour snap that wakes up your senses. Many people, especially those watching their sugar intake, even prefer green or slightly sour apples, thinking they're the healthier choice. But what feels like a lighter, cleaner option can actually be a quiet assault on your system, particularly after 60. Unripe or overly sour apples carry a hidden edge, a level of acidity that your aging body may no longer be able to handle with ease. What begins as a harmless crunch can slowly wear down your teeth, your digestion, and, more dangerously, your circulatory health, setting the stage for heart strain and even stroke over time. Here's the science behind it. As apples ripen, their natural acids mellow while their sugars and fibers balance out. A ripe apple is not just sweeter, it's chemically gentler. An unripe or sour apple, however, contains higher concentrations of malic acid and other organic acids. When these acids enter the stomach, especially on an older digestive system with reduced mucus protection, they can irritate the lining and disturb the delicate acid-base balance needed for smooth digestion. This irritation doesn't just cause discomfort, it triggers inflammation, a response that can spread through the bloodstream. Chronic, low-level inflammation is one of the key forces that stiffens arteries and reduces oxygen flow to the heart and brain. That's how a simple taste preference can quietly shift into a long-term cardiovascular risk. But digestion isn't the only victim. The acid in unripe apples also attacks tooth enamel, the very shield that protects your teeth from sensitivity and decay. Over time, this erosion leads to microinflammation in the gums, another often overlooked pathway to heart trouble. Studies have repeatedly shown a link between gum inflammation and heart disease, because the bacteria and inflammatory signals from your mouth travel directly into the bloodstream, where they disturb the arterial lining. So when you bite into a sour, unripe apple every day, thinking it's a cleaner, lighter fruit, you might actually be feeding a slow, silent cascade of irritation that reaches all the way to your heart. And then comes the issue of oxygen flow. The acids in unripe apples can disrupt the mineral balance in your blood, particularly potassium and calcium, both of which are crucial for healthy circulation and nerve function. When those minerals become unstable, your heart's rhythm can shift slightly, and your brain receives less steady oxygenation. You might notice this as mild fatigue, lightheadedness, or even foggy memory. The danger isn't in one apple, of course, but in repetition, the daily habit that chips away quietly at the balance your body depends on. Now contrast that with what happens when you choose a ripe, sweet apple. The sugars are naturally balanced by fiber, the acids are tamed, and digestion becomes soothing instead of stressful. A ripe apple feeds your microbiome, helps regulate cholesterol, and supports steady blood flow without irritating your stomach or enamel. You can feel it, that sense of lightness after eating, that clean, steady energy instead of discomfort or sour reflux. It's a small but powerful difference that your heart and brain recognize instantly, even if you don't. Number 6. Drinking apple juice instead of whole apples. It's one of the most common health traps of our time, reaching for a glass of apple juice thinking you're doing something good for your body. It feels clean, light, and natural. After all, it's just fruit, right? That golden color, that fresh aroma, it looks like bottled vitality. But here's the truth few realize. Apple juice is not the same as an apple. Not even close. The moment you strip the fruit of its fiber, its protective magic is lost. What remains in the glass is not a health elixir. It's a concentrated sugar liquid that can quietly exhaust your heart, burden your arteries, and, over time, set the stage for brain and circulatory decline. When you drink apple juice, especially the processed kind, you're taking in a surge of fructose without the fiber that nature designed to control it. The fiber in a whole apple acts like a brake. It slows down sugar absorption, balances insulin levels, and keeps your blood vessels calm. But once that fiber is removed, the sugar rushes straight into your bloodstream, hitting your system with a sudden spike. For a senior body, where insulin sensitivity has already weakened, that spike becomes dangerous. It triggers oxidative stress, a state where unstable molecules called free radicals start damaging the delicate lining of your arteries. Those arteries, once flexible and smooth, begin to harden and lose elasticity. And that's the beginning of every major heart and brain event, from silent hypertension to sudden stroke. Apple juice also lacks the phytonutrients that sit in the peel and pulp, compounds like quercetin and catechins that fight inflammation and protect the brain's blood vessels from thinning. When you eat a whole apple, these antioxidants work together with fiber to sweep toxins out of the bloodstream and keep circulation steady. But in juice form, you lose this harmony. What remains is sweetness without structure, energy without protection. It feels refreshing at first, but the aftermath is a quiet storm inside your veins. Sugar highs followed by crashes, insulin swings, and inflammatory responses that your aging cardiovascular system struggles to keep up with. Another silent danger lies in the processing itself. Most commercial apple juices, even the ones labeled natural, undergo heating, filtering, and storage that destroy many of the fruit's natural enzymes. Some are reconstituted from concentrate, where the original juice is boiled down, stored for months, then mixed with water and preservatives before bottling. What reaches your glass might still taste like apples, but it no longer behaves like one inside your body. The enzymes that help with digestion are gone, the antioxidants are weakened, and the remaining sugars act more like a soft drink than a fruit. Over time, this repeated sugar loading thickens the blood, raises triglycerides, and slows oxygen delivery to the brain. It's why regular juice drinkers often feel quick bursts of energy followed by sudden fatigue or mental fog. The blood is simply working too hard to handle the overload. Number 7. Storing apples for too long. There's something comforting about seeing a bowl of apples sitting on the kitchen counter, bright, familiar, always ready to eat. Most of us buy them in bulk, thinking they'll last for weeks. After all, apples seem sturdy, they don't spoil easily, they keep their shine, and they still look edible long after we've bought them. But that outer appearance hides a quiet truth. The longer apples sit, the more life they lose. What once pulsed with antioxidants, enzymes, and natural vitality begins to fade, molecule by molecule. What remains may still look like an apple, but inside, its nutrients are slowly dying. For the aging body, that loss of freshness isn't just a small nutritional drop, It's a silent erosion that can make the difference between protecting your heart and brain or unknowingly straining them. An apple freshly picked from the tree is alive. It breathes, it exchanges gases, it still carries energy in its cells. But with each passing day of storage, even under refrigeration, that life begins to decline. The antioxidants, those powerful compounds that keep your arteries soft and your brain cells defended against oxidative stress, begin to degrade. The vitamin C content drops, the polyphenol weaken, and the once crisp texture starts to soften as enzymes slowly break down the fruit's internal structure. This process is natural, but when you stretch it too long, keeping apples for weeks or even months, you're not eating a health food anymore. You're eating a shell of it. The nutrients that were meant to cleanse your blood and calm inflammation are no longer active enough to do their job. And that means your arteries, heart, and brain are left more exposed to oxidative damage, the very root of heart attacks and strokes. There's another problem that few people talk about: chemical residues. Most commercial apples are wax-coated and treated with preservatives to extend their shelf life. The longer they sit, the deeper these residues settle into the skin, while the fruit's own protective enzymes, which could have helped neutralize some of those chemicals, diminish. That means each bite of an old apple could carry not just fewer nutrients, but more traces of toxins your liver and kidneys must now work harder to remove. For an aging body, where detoxification slows naturally, that extra load can translate into subtle inflammation, a background strain that keeps blood pressure unstable and circulation sluggish. Over time, these small imbalances pile up, and the effects are felt where you least expect them: the heart, the brain, and the fragile vessels that connect them. Even the aroma of an apple tells you its health. A fresh one carries a crisp, slightly floral scent, a sign of living compounds still active inside. A stale apple, on the other hand, loses that fragrance because the volatile nutrients that create it are gone. What's left might still taste fine, but the body can tell the difference. Your cells don't get the same spark, your energy doesn't lift the same way, and your blood vessels don't get the antioxidant shield they once did. You may not notice it immediately, but your body does, in the form of slower recovery, lower vitality, or the quiet buildup of arterial stiffness that sets the stage for something far worse later. Number 8. Eating apple seeds. Apples have always been symbols of health, vitality, and wisdom, but hidden at their core lies a quiet danger most people never think twice about. The glossy brown seeds sitting neatly in the center look harmless, even natural. Some people even chew them, believing that a little bit won't hurt. And while that might seem true in the short term, the truth is more unsettling. Apple seeds contain compounds that don't belong inside your body, especially not a body past 60, where detoxification slows and circulation becomes more fragile. What seems like a tiny, harmless habit can quietly burden your liver, disturb your blood's oxygen balance, and, over time, weaken the very systems that keep your heart and brain alive. Inside every apple seed is a substance called amygdalin, a natural chemical that, when broken down during digestion, releases hydrogen cyanide. Yes, cyanide, the same compound that, in larger amounts, is considered a deadly poison. In small doses, your body can detoxify it, filtering it through the liver and converting it into harmless byproducts. But when you repeatedly consume apple seeds, whether through juicing, blending, or simply chewing the whole core, that detox system gets no rest. Over time, the liver and kidneys, already working harder with age, begin to strain. The result is not an immediate sickness but a slow, cumulative stress on your organs, one that disrupts oxygen supply in the blood, thickens circulation, and quietly raises your vulnerability to heart and brain damage. You see, cyanogenic compounds interfere with the way your blood carries oxygen. They disrupt cellular respiration, the process by which your cells use oxygen to produce energy. When this process weakens, even slightly, your tissues begin to suffocate on a microscopic level. For the heart and brain, the two most oxygen-hungry organs, that's disastrous. It can mean subtle fatigue, dizziness, or memory lapses at first, but over years, this oxygen debt leads to more serious consequences: unstable blood pressure, arterial inflammation, and, in some cases, the kind of silent vascular weakening that sets the stage for stroke or heart failure. It's also important to remember that apple seeds don't just harm directly. They interfere with the body's healing rhythm. The liver, which filters your blood, depends on a steady supply of oxygen to keep detox pathways open. But when those pathways are constantly challenged by small doses of toxins, they slow down. Waste begins to circulate longer in the bloodstream. Inflammation creeps up. The blood thickens. and your once smooth arteries begin to stiffen ever so slightly, a change too small to feel at first, yet powerful enough to reshape your health over time. That's how a habit that feels trivial today becomes a hidden factor in tomorrow's heart and brain crises. The fix is simple, and it begins with awareness. Always remove the seeds before eating or juicing apples. Don't toss the whole fruit into a blender thinking it's harmless. The seeds release their compounds when crushed or ground. Take a few seconds to cut around the core. It's a small act that protects your liver, preserves your oxygen flow, and keeps your circulation cleaner. Nature designed those seeds not to be eaten, but to be planted, to grow new life, not to live inside yours. Number 9. Eating cold apples straight from the fridge. It's a small, almost thoughtless habit, reaching into the fridge, grabbing a crisp, chilled apple, and taking that refreshing first bite. It feels clean, energizing, even satisfying on a warm day. But beneath that momentary pleasure, something very different happens inside your body, especially if you're over 60. That burst of cold, though pleasant to the tongue, sends a wave of shock through your digestive system and circulatory network. What feels cooling on the surface can quietly constrict blood vessels, disrupt digestion, and strain the delicate balance that keeps your heart and brain well fed with oxygen-rich blood. You see, the body, particularly after 60, thrives on warmth and gentle flow. Every organ, from the stomach to the arteries, depends on steady circulation and balanced temperature to function smoothly. When you eat something ice-cold, especially on an empty or semi-empty stomach, your internal temperature drops suddenly. The blood vessels lining your digestive tract constrict as a defense mechanism. This constriction slows down enzyme activity, delays digestion, and interferes with the absorption of vital nutrients, including the antioxidants and natural fibers that make apples so powerful for heart and brain health in the first place. What should have been nourishment turns into temporary stagnation. But the effects go beyond digestion. That sudden temperature shift ripples outward, reaching your heart and brain through the bloodstream. Cold foods can trigger a reflex tightening of arteries, a narrowing that reduces blood flow and slightly raises blood pressure. For a younger body, that's a minor adjustment. But for a senior body, where the vessels are already less flexible and the heart has to work harder to push blood through, that momentary tightening can create unnecessary strain. Repeat that pattern daily, biting into cold fruit after meals or between medicines, and you unknowingly build a rhythm of constriction and pressure that slowly chips away at vascular resilience. Over time, that's what leads to episodes of lightheadedness, heart fluttering, or even the long-term risks of stroke and heart attack. The irony is that apples are meant to comfort, not shock. When eaten at room temperature, their natural sugars and pectin fibers blend harmoniously with digestive juices, creating a slow and steady energy release. The warmth of your body welcomes the fruit's nutrients. The polyphenol, vitamins, and minerals are absorbed efficiently, the antioxidants circulate freely, and the blood stays smooth and oxygen-rich. But when the apple is cold, the body has to spend extra energy just to warm it up internally before it can even begin the digestion process. That may sound trivial, but for seniors, every bit of unnecessary energy use takes away from the body's ability to repair, detoxify, and regulate blood pressure, the very things that protect your heart and brain from decline. Another overlooked effect of cold fruit is its impact on gut balance. The gut is like a warm ecosystem. Its beneficial bacteria thrive in gentle, consistent temperatures. Introducing cold foods repeatedly disturbs this equilibrium, slowing down fermentation and metabolism. That's why many people notice mild bloating, cramps, or fatigue after eating cold apples, especially in the evening. It's not just gas. It's your digestive system struggling to restore its natural warmth. And when digestion slows, circulation follows. The heart must work harder to move thicker blood, and the brain receives oxygen less efficiently. Day by day, these small internal disruptions accumulate into what doctors call silent vascular stress. Number 10. Not washing apples properly. It's one of those habits we barely think about. You pick up an apple, give it a quick rub on your sleeve or rinse it for 2 seconds under the tap, and take a confident bite. It looks clean. It smells fresh. It feels safe. After all, it's fruit. But what you can't see, and what your body can't protect you from fast enough, are the invisible layers of chemicals, waxes, and bacteria that cling tightly to that glossy skin. For many seniors, this small act of carelessness slowly builds into something dangerous, a silent daily dose of toxins that can quietly harm the heart, narrow the arteries, and even impair brain function over time. Modern apples don't come straight from nature anymore. By the time they reach your kitchen, they've already traveled through layers of treatment, sprayed in orchards with pesticides, coated in synthetic wax to preserve shine, and handled by countless people during packaging and transport. That beautiful shine isn't a sign of freshness. It's often a thin, plastic-like layer designed to keep the fruit looking perfect for months. But when you bite through that wax without properly washing or scrubbing it off, you're sending a mix of chemical residues straight into your bloodstream. The liver tries to filter them out, but with age, that filtration process slows. Over time, these compounds accumulate, causing oxidative stress that damages the lining of blood vessels. Those micro-tears in the arteries become breeding grounds for inflammation, the first step toward hardened arteries, higher blood pressure, and the eventual risk of heart attack or stroke. It's not just about the heart. Your brain suffers quietly too. Certain pesticide compounds, especially those that cling to apple skin, are neurotoxic in nature. They interfere with neurotransmitter balance, the delicate chemical signals that keep your mind sharp and your memory stable. For a senior brain already vulnerable to age-related decline, this daily exposure acts like sand in the gears. The flow of oxygen-rich blood to the brain becomes less efficient, neurons struggle to communicate, and over months or years, this invisible toxin load can accelerate mental fatigue, confusion, and cognitive aging. And it gets worse when the fruit has been stored for long periods. As apples age, the wax barrier traps moisture beneath the surface, encouraging bacterial growth, something you can't see or smell. Rinsing under cold water won't remove that film. It takes more, a deliberate cleaning routine that restores the apple to its natural, safe state. So, what have we learned today? Apples are indeed one of nature's most remarkable gifts, crisp, refreshing, full of antioxidants, and capable of protecting the heart, supporting digestion, and keeping the mind clear and strong. But as we've seen, even something this pure can turn harmful when mishandled. Every mistake, from eating them on an empty stomach to biting into them cold or unwashed, chips away at the very benefits you expect. Over time, these small, silent errors can lead to inflammation, clogged arteries, and reduced oxygen flow to the brain, setting the stage for the very dangers you thought apples were protecting you from, heart attack and stroke. The truth is, health after 60 is no longer about what you eat, it's about how you eat it. Your body doesn't process food the same way it did decades ago. Your metabolism, your blood vessels, your digestive strength, they've all changed. That means every bite must be taken with a little more thought, a little more respect. Apples aren't the enemy. Misunderstanding them is. When you time them right, pair them wisely, and handle them with care, they can still be one of your greatest allies in healthy aging. Each of these corrections we discussed today is simple. Waiting an hour after medicine, avoiding cold fruit, washing thoroughly, eating ripe ones, and not storing them too long. But together, they make a powerful difference. They restore balance to your digestion, protect your arteries, and keep your brain cells well-nourished and oxygenated. Small daily awareness builds strong long-term protection. That's the quiet secret of longevity, not big changes, but mindful habits practiced every single day. So the next time you reach for an apple, remember this: it's not just a snack. It's a message to your body. A clean, ripe, properly handled apple says, "I'm giving you life." A careless one says, "I'm making you work harder." The choice is in your hands, and on your plate. If you care about keeping your heart strong, your brain sharp, and your body active after 60, make these simple shifts today. Eat with awareness, live with intention, and let every apple you enjoy truly nourish you, not harm you. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you been making any of these mistakes without realizing it? Which correction will you try first? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your insight might just help someone else protect their heart and mind. And remember, stay strong, stay wise, and stay vibrant. Your best years aren't behind you, they're built by the choices you make today.